Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So the Jets just wrapped up their second OTA practice that was open to the public. Obviously, there's been a lot of practices going on behind the scenes, but today was the second one that reporters were actually allowed to, show up, take videos, take pictures, all that kind of stuff, and really report on what's going on, right? So in this one, I wanted to, of course, break it all down, and it is voluntary OTAs, no contact. It's not like we're getting ready to play the first preseason game or anything like that. Things haven't ramped up to that degree, and we're still in May. But with that said, voluntary OTAs, phase 3 specifically, it is a crucial time, right? Despite guys not being in pads and stuff like that, you can still run 7-on-7s. You can still run 11-on-11s, right? Which means that you can go through and further install the offense, get a better understanding, do a deeper dive, if you will, of plays, knowing where guys are supposed to be, going up against a legitimate defense, the first team defense. And then if you flip it, the defense now has a really, really good opportunity to see what the offense under Nathaniel Hackett is going to look like before the start of training camp. Okay, so, I get it. It's voluntary OTAs. It's not the most exciting thing for a lot of people out there. I totally get that. But for me personally, I do think it's really, really important. Now, of course, I wanted to start off with the Robert Saleh press conference. He had that before the practice and clarified a couple things. Number one, it did not really seem like the Jets, Saleh and the Jets, have that much interest in DeAndre Hopkins. When that question got brought up, are the Jets interested? Could they pursue it? He said, hey, I like the guys that we have in-house. You're looking at the latest rumors and reports surrounding Hopkins right now, what he potentially could be asking for. Man, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. It's supposedly right now, it should be around the Beckham mark. And we all know how much he got from the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, the two frontrunners right now, the Chiefs and the Bills, haven't really made their move because Hopkins has his price tag so high. So there's some talks, hey, maybe the New England Patriots could be involved. The Ravens kick the tires on it, but I don't think they're going to pursue it. But the bottom line is the Jets are probably not. Again, according to Saleh here, they're good with the group they have. And then he, in fact, doubled down on Corey Davis staying, right? Productive, valuable player on the squad. I don't really envision a situation where, last minute, hey, they signed DeAndre Hopkins to a relatively bigger deal, and then they just cut Corey Davis out of the blue. I know that was talked about over the last, really since Hopkins was released here, because it could make sense financially, comparing numbers. But at the end of the day, it does not look like a move is going to be made there. Moving on to Breese Hall, Saleh made it clear that he feels, quote unquote, very optimistic that Breese Hall will be ready for week 1 of the NFL season. In fact, Breese was actually out there today doing some conditional drills, and that was the macro expectation, right? There's been a lot of reports floating around over the last couple of months saying that Breese Hall should be ready to go by week 1. For me personally, my take on it, I'm not rushing him back. If Breese isn't ready, worst case scenario, he's not ready by week 1. It is what it is. It's not going to be the end of the world. If it takes him until week 2 to get healthy, so be it. Maybe there's a situation where Breese feels 100% ready to go in the 4th preseason week, right, where there's no game played. One used to be played, but not anymore. Maybe something like that happens. I think really the bottom line here, the expectation for Breese Hall's return, right, his timetable is looking pretty good. And again, we're not in the thick of training camp. We're not 2 weeks in a preseason and we're hoping and rushing Breese Hall back or anything like that. It's May 31st right now. May 31st. All of June, all of July, all of August until September. So 3-4 months here we're looking at. Barring any setbacks, I think Breese should be good to go. Now, moving on to the practice, Aaron Rodgers was limited today, was out there, did attend, but with that said, wasn't out there participating in the 11-on-11 drills or anything like that, still coming back from the tweaked calf. So again, totally understandable. Just it's voluntary OTAs here. It is what it is. No big deal. The sky isn't falling. Take your time to come back. When Rodgers feels good to come back, let him come back. There's literally zero worry, zero stress within the organization that this is going to be a lingering thing, that this is going to, put a major damper on the offseason or anything like that. In fact, Saul actually said that he's hoping to get Rodgers fully back, like participating in everything, by Friday, which is in a couple days. Okay, so really, really good news there. But even with Rodgers still having the tweaked calf, he was out there on the bike. He was out there when he didn't necessarily have to be. He was kind of coaching up other guys, hanging around, watching. I saw one video. He was actually hanging around the pass catchers, kind of giving them tips. I mean, this dude is not like what Jets fans were sold by, like, the national sports media. There's a narrative out there that Rodgers does not like younger players. He just doesn't want to spend the time coaching them up. He doesn't want to spend the time helping those guys, accelerating their learning curve whatsoever. He would rather just roll with the older guys, if you will, the Randall Cobbs, right? The Mercedes Lewises. Which could be true to a certain degree. Like, you could, of course, prefer the veteran options. But, to say that Rodgers hates the younger players, doesn't want anything to do with them, I think is definitely a stretch to say, because the proof is in the pudding. What are we seeing at voluntary OTAs? We're seeing a 39-year-old quarterback who doesn't necessarily have to be there, a guy who skipped this section of the offseason with the Green Bay Packers multiple times. And he's out there with the New York Jets trying to get accustomed, trying to learn, not only just the players on the roster, but all the coaches in-house, getting a feel for everything. I mean, this Rodgers to me seems fully committed. I don't have any question marks about him, using the Jets or any weird thing like that. I'm totally satisfied, totally happy with what Aaron Rodgers has brought so far in the, month and a half that he's been in New York Jet. I mean, it's been nothing but positive stuff. I'm expecting nothing but positive stuff, and I'm loving what I'm hearing. In fact, Connor Hughes actually posted a tweet that I found pretty funny, where he was on the sidelines throwing 50-yard bombs with ease with one of the trainers. And, look, if you've watched Green Bay Packers football over the last decade plus, I mean, man, like, every single Sunday, this was a staple. You look at Aaron Rodgers' throwing mechanics, it's it's damn near perfect. I mean, for him to it literally looks like he hardly puts any effort in it. Like, his mechanics are just so fine-tuned. He can put the football where, like, he has the pinpoint accuracy. Down the field, intermediate, short, off of play action, outside of the pocket, throwing on the run, throwing under duress, having somebody in his face, even across his body, the back shoulders, fades, he has touch, he has velocity, he has zip. Just Rodgers throwing the football is, again, I don't want to use the word perfect, because nobody really is perfect. People do throw picks, people do make poor decisions with the football, but as a thrower of the football, right, we hear that term all the time in regards to Rodgers. I mean, man, it should be no surprise to anybody that Rodgers has this good of an arm. Right, the mechanics are just so incredibly fine-tuned that it's just so. It's kind of like poetry in motion watching Aaron Rodgers throw a football. I don't mean to hype it up or blow it out of proportion. It is a guy just throwing a football, but man, if you really like the quarterback position and you watch Aaron Rodgers throw the football, you're amazed. So not a surprise here that he's just not even trying 50-yarders. Granted, they're on the sidelines with the trainer, but hey, it's still cool either way. Now, a couple of the players that were there but didn't participate: Mekhi Becton, Randall Cobb, Tyler Conklin, Bam Knight, Michael Clemens. Some of those guys are obviously coming back from injury, but like guys like Randall Cobb, I'm not sure if he got hurt in one of these OTA practices that weren't covered by the media, or maybe there's something going on there, but I think at the end of the day, whatever injury guys are working back from, understanding that it's May is super, super important. It's key when talking about it. And then Quinnen Williams, of course, still holding out. Corey Davis did not participate either. According to Robert Saleh, he's having a baby. So no bad blood, ill will, or anything, in that front. So that's always good to hear. And one player that's actually stood out above the rest is Jeremy Ruckert. Supposedly he's turning heads. When you listen to coaches talk about him and reporters just rave about Ruckert so far throughout the OTA process, it's not just today. This has been an ongoing thing, multiple days, multiple practices here. I mean, that's totally awesome. Ruckert came in as a mid-round pick here, and unfortunately, well, I guess you could kind of make an argument for either side. he's not playing his first season. Why? Because CJ Uzama and Tyler Conklin, two veteran tight ends, both brought in on multi-year deals. Yeah, Rucker, the mid-round pick, the rookie, probably isn't going to see much playing time. But it could be a blessing in disguise, where it's like, hey, he doesn't have any pressure on him. Oh, hey, we need you to go snag 40 catches this season. You got to go get the 5 touchdowns. Insane pressure on a mid-round rookie. We need you to go in there and be the full-time starting tight end, pick up things on the fly. No pressure. No pressure on him whatsoever. He can grow physically, grow mentally, learn the system. And with this year under his belt, primarily on the bench, I think that's really going to bode well for him. I mean, Rucker was a guy who I really liked at Ohio State as a pass catcher and a blocker, not afraid to do the dirty work, grew up as a Jet fan. You know he's going to be motivated, know he's going to want to be there. And to hear his name pop up and flashing throughout these OTA processes so far, it's totally cool. Totally cool. If we have our future tight end already on the roster in Jeremy Rucker, that's a massive win. Massive win. So I'm going to leave it there. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, go Jets.